So Alex Jones was pointing some stuff out for a while. You don't know who that is? Well, that's doubtful. So I should explain that. But the world's largest media outlet in America, which makes it the world's, one Trump thanked for the win, the one they didn't go after when he would have been the one, not Trump, leading people in January. He used to talk about the New World Order, what they're doing, and all that crap, and probably still does. And he would talk about them drugging people, and he's the guy. If you ever heard someone say that fluoride, you're not supposed to have fluoride, and they explain to you that fluoride, if anything, is only topical for the teeth, blah blah blah, and drinking it does nothing, and it destroys your mind. Destroys your ability to communicate with the real God, the system here. That's probably because of him. Just like many people talk to me about things and they don't seem to know who that is. But you know who NBC, ABC, CBS is, yet he had more viewers than them. Probably did even after they sued him into submission, right? What happened there? Okay. And so, if he's right, he was talking about, science, right? Science is for retards, people who think Santa's coming. NASA works with Santa to build a sleigh. And we're going to go to the moon with Santa Clausy. And so he talked about, when I used to read that crap, that stupid books and science garbage, I would look into stuff, right? And he was like, well, they're doing this. They're putting drugs out there to kill your emotions. And he's always talking about them genetically engineering the people and stuff like that. And then oddly, after he talked about that, they outlawed the stuff they were selling, made it impossible to obtain, and then they switched over to this new stuff that has a drug in it that basically nulls your ability to feel good. It's like a drug that makes you feel good mixed with a drug that prevents that from happening in your body. That way you can't become addicted. That way you are no longer addicted to feeling good because you're never going to feel good again, no matter what. And that's what they're putting a bunch of people on. Now, if they're doing this because, for whatever reason, these people are psychopaths, whoever they are, they're all psychopaths, aren't they? And it's a nation full of people drugging and enslaving everyone on the planet, including each other and their children and stuff. That's not psycho. Well, you're one of them being manipulative too. They're not just psycho, they're extremely manipulative. Like I said, they're trying to tell me that they're going to Mars with Santa Claus and stuff. Can't make up how dumb they are, but I guess you take the drugs they give you and humans fry from that stuff. It'd suck to be one of them, right? But hell, I know it's hard for me to judge because of everything going on in my life, like my emotions. Like I got some things going on emotionally that I've never seen in my life since they poisoned me last month, and I was already assuming the previous times they were doing that they were probably trying to genetically engineer me because no, I'm not a good slave. They've been doing that since I'm a kid. I'm not a good slave. I'm too smart for them and shit. And I ain't having none of that stuff. And so, I guess their answer is to put drugs in my champagne and stuff. And once you catch them, you know they're doing it. And then once you feel it, you know it's happening. Once the weirdos come up to you, and then you feel different than you ever have, you know what they're up to and stuff. They let you know. They fucking cut my brake lines right there while I'm there. Claiming they're working on my car and it's an accident. Because the whole fucking Washington state is their race and shit. And I go, apparently they can do anything they want up there because they got their gang signs all over the fucking place and shit. And, I mean, everywhere this fucking city is in, too. But, I mean, the West probably all is. You can't conquer people and force them to fucking take your religion and belief system, then you kill them. You can't make people do that stuff without killing them. But anyways, yeah. So Alex Jones, and this is them, right? He's one of them. He brags that he's caught on camera saying we can't talk about them because we're not allowed to. It's like literally a dude telling people you're talking about everything you're supposed to, and then you're fucking lying them and leading them to invade the Capitol, so they all get their family, everyone in their family investigated, and when these 2024 riots kick off, those people are going to be fully disarmed and stuff. That's going to allow for, the bloodshed to happen, because the right wing can go out there in the street and just decimate everyone right away. Right away. The right wing, right away. But you get some armed squads with their information, like they provided in the January invasion of the Capitol, then you can have a real war where people actually get to die, and not just half of them and stuff. They all get to die. And so, anyways, yeah. So he's always telling that too. He's like, we got to brag about what we're doing, or they got to brag. I'm sorry. He says they got to brag, and then you just look into it, and he is they. So he's telling you, he's bragging about what he's doing, but he's like, oh no, but we don't need that. I mean, he could be making up shit about the fluoride, but I really doubt it because you don't need it in the water. So, and you don't need to mutilate your children. You don't need to enslave your children. You don't need to send your children to school. You don't need to watch TV. You don't need. You don't need to drug people. You don't need to drug children. You don't need to lock up people for the drug. Their war against drugs, and it's a war against humanity. I mean, you can be brown, you can be white, you can be European, you can be Asian, you can be drugs, you can be a lot of things. And it's just a war. And the drug they're pushing out now, part of it is designed to kill your emotions and stuff. And okay, so the newer stuff, I've taken their newer stuff, and it it does what it says. It makes it so you don't feel good. But it's given to people who take drugs that make them feel good. Or if you go to your doctor and you're disabled, crippled, your body's broken, you're a martial artist, something like that, an athlete, they're all on the old stuff. I wonder if they're on the new stuff. Nah, because when you're rich, you get the real shit. But it's a war against people they want to kill, right? It's not a war against the best monkeys on the planet. Well, depending on who you ask. But yeah, you jump through a hoop, you're already ahead of half the people on the planet. You're performing for the circus. You don't jump through any hoops at all. You're the other half of the planet here that they're worried about. How they're always talking all this stuff about. I mean, there's so many lies in that. All these people are dying. You ever see that? You ever go outside and you see all these people dying during COVID? You had to drive down the sidewalk because there's so many dead bodies laying in the middle of the street. And then, there's this opioid epidemic. I guess that's still going on. Kind of closely related to this, a hell of a lot. And, they're all dead outside. I see them all over. It's just dead people everywhere. You gotta ban that stuff from them selling it. You gotta ban it so only you can sell it, and then you gotta ban that and replace it with something else that has special drugs in it that prevent you from feeling. It blocks dopamine receptors, supposedly, which means that's what makes you feel happy. Like when a girl touches you, and you get a hard on, that's your dopamine receptors are involved in that most likely or something, right? When a guy gives you a big wad of money and a diamond ring, and you're like, woo, diamonds and money. And that's the dopamine receptors. Now, this thing, supposedly it works because there's pills out there. There's a lot of stuff out there. Like I said, diamonds, money, TV, food. There's a lot of stuff out there, but these pills are bad. Maybe these powders and stuff are these plants. These plants are real bad. Oh man, the plants are nasty. Dude, what type of person isn't a carnivore, anyways? Hey, big man, grow up. Stop eating them, smoking them, inhaling them, sniffing them plants, bro. Right? Grow up and be a carnivore. But yeah, so this new stuff, Alex Jones was talking about it a long time ago, before they even put it out there. Oddly, gatekeeper, looks like he's telling you what they're doing before they do it. It's definitely telling you what they're doing and saying it's someone else, saying it's this spooky boogeyman, saying it's some blonde chick over in Europe or Norway, behind all the evil in the world. You guys meet them all the time, don't you? Them too. The dead people, and there's nothing but dead people and blonde-haired, blue-eyed girls walking around out there doing Hitler salutes. You know, they're like, oh, fuck you, dead people, fuck you, COVID, for the win, you know. It's always them girls out there, them blonde-haired, blue-eyed girls and shit, doing everything, ain't it? I'm not really trying to, I'm trying to be sarcastic, my bad. My bad. But, yeah, so supposedly them drugs out there, they mix them with stuff, it's like drugs that make you feel good, and then they mix it with the drug that kills your ability to feel good. And, so Alex Jones bragged, before they released this stuff, that they're putting drugs out there to kill your emotions and stuff. And what happens, you might want to kill some people's emotions. I don't really see those dead people out there, so I don't think you gotta prevent people from feeling good from pills or something. I would think more that it could be like the circumcision thing, considering it's the same people who do it, that they chop off your penis because they want you to work, not have love and desire. You're not a good worker if you have sexual function. Think about it. If you have a person having sex, unless it's them in Hollywood, I mean, they're allowed to get paid for that stuff and do it. But it's not a job for anyone else, right? For most people, well, I don't know a lot of people, but I'm told most people, sex isn't their job. And from what I can see, if you're busy having sex, you're generally not getting paid for that. People generally aren't producing a revenue. Well, I mean, my experience is a little different, but that's what I hear is normal people aren't paid for that type of stuff. The average person isn't. And there's a hell of a lot of people online these days. Kind of makes me wonder how many are lying about that. And my own personal life, it's like, well, like I said, I'm speaking for other people, not myself. Not people I know. But, they can't be working at McDonald's or stocking the shelves if they're having sex. So they can't move the bricks to build the pyramid if they're having sex and stuff. You gotta chop their wieners off or their vaginas. That's the only logical thing to any of that stuff going on. That's the only piece of logic I can extract from that. Now you get to the what's really going on in the world. You understand there are people out there who probably, like, things get old. Riding a roller coaster gets old. I like car crashes, right? Hell, I like car crashes before I rode roller coasters. I didn't even like roller coasters at first. And a car crash is way better than a roller coaster. You get some roller coaster and just cut the track off. Let everyone get on that. And I just slam into the ground instead of dipping down and flying back up. Wow. You think dipping down and up is fun? Wait till you slam into the ground. You're going to get some real excitement going on there. Crazy. Demolition derbies, man. Coolest thing ever. When I was a kid, that was the coolest thing ever, man. Outside, like explosions and stuff. I guess I like guns too. I remember I found the gun I had when I was a kid, when I was going to grandma's stuff. And it made me realize like that was like I wasn't allowed to do other things I wanted, but I was allowed to buy a gun, get the gun, cap gun, go bang bang. So that's pretty much all I did as a kid was have a cap gun. And wow, I never really thought about that. About the only thing I was allowed to do as a kid was own a gun. That's very American, except for it wasn't a real gun. Well, not when I was like 4 and 6, right? Laser tag too. Laser tag was awesome. I was like, why'd they get rid of that? And it took like 30 years to bring virtual reality in laser rooms. It was only 20 for the first laser rooms, but no one remembers QSR. So just recently they've re-released laser in the 10 years, and then just released 3D and shooting environments for groups of people for virtual reality. But anyways, wow. Yeah, that's one of those things you gotta write on the never forget list. I should do that actually. Here. I gotta keep my pen in my hand so I remember to write that. It's one of those important things like, oh yeah, playing with guns. Drugs and guns. And see what and then that's what you're allowed. And then they're like, no, don't do that. They're like, we gotta tax that a lot. We gotta charge you $100 million. You need a gun. You want to play with a gun? Well, we're gonna tell you, you gotta go to a special person to get that. You want some drugs? You gotta go to a special person to get that. We gotta put a tax on that. Huge tax. No, you really like guns. We're gonna have to put another tax on that. They won't stay away from guns. Let's put a lot of taxes on that. Let's just keep taxing, keep. Increase the price. Hey, let's work with the weapons manufacturers. And let's go use them to sell them to other nations too. They like guns too, don't they? Let's tax them. Let's bomb them if they don't want to buy them. That's a good idea. We can use the guns to sell the guns, to force people to buy the guns. And then we can use the guns to keep jacking up the prices. Boy, we could have just changed the word gun to drug. And that's exactly what they... Literally, the opium wars. There's no such thing as the gun wars, because every war is a gun war. Since David shooting freaking rocks at Goliath story. Every war is a gun war. I'm sure before anyone invented a slingshot, people with rocks were highly valuable members of society versus people who just had their fist and a stick in their hand. Cavemen probably walking around like, what's it? Hey, hit him from over there. How'd he do that? He's the best. Just replace it. Drug war. Replace everything I just said. Drug war. Use the drugs. Make the people want the drugs. Make the people get the drugs. Take it away from them. Then tell them, now you gotta come to me and get approval to get your guns and drugs. You're willing to do that, huh? You're willing to do that, aren't you? Well, we gotta raise the price on the drugs. You willing to pay that price, huh? What else can we do? We could use the guns and drugs to kill people we don't like. That's a good idea. Everyone wants them. Let's give them some. Let's give it to them. Let's do it. Let's do it. And we know they're doing that. I mean, what the hell? They put powder, some sort of powder in my champagne because they were giving me free cocaine and they weren't telling me about it? Nah. Yeah. And something happened that night. I think they made shit up, but I don't remember that night. And they kicked me out the next day, too. So I think they have access to drugs that black you out and they mind control you and shit. That's what they say. That's what Alex Jones and them saying. How else does the puppeteering happen? Is it in the water? How many people do that? I mean, probably a fake virtual environment and I'm working with the guy in control, right? But, or something like that. It could be real as hell, and that's just how the world works. I mean, it's the only real we're going to get to while we're here. Whatever limit that is, obviously. There's a lot of stuff here that's been happening, shape-shifting and mass mind control of the entire planet. Things like that. Like, I don't know, where the real ends, but that's some stuff. But there you go. What's the purpose of all that? How's that happen? Is that drugs or is it just they're bots? They're bots in the game, being mass possessed. It's the radio frequency. Another thing. That's another thing too. Maybe not as bad, but they use the media in the same way they use guns and drugs. Give it to them, make them get addicted to it. There are some instances where they take it from you, and they don't let you have it, right? But they force you to go through their outlet, like we're on WestNet. I don't think I've ever seen any other nation's media. If you look at UK and the places they advertise Russia, it's like the same media as USA with a couple different stories. That doesn't make sense. And then you go to different cities, especially like in the 80s and stuff. You couldn't see, like if you want to watch your children at home, no, if there's a blizzard going on, you want to monitor it because you're on vacation, your children at home. Can't see what's going on in your city back in the 80s because there was laws against that. I've seen other cities' media. There was laws against that. I mean, there technically still is. So if you see it now, they just work together to convince you of things, apparently. And, yeah. You youngins don't know about that, do you? Yeah, you used to travel city to city, and you couldn't see anything on TV about another city because it was illegal to air. Against copyright. You guys know all about that these days, don't you? Back then it wasn't an issue because there was no media anyone had access to except for like 5 channels. And 5 channels in your city. So literally, they were making like 10 films a day for whatever city existed at that time. At most. And then putting it on repeat. They wouldn't let you see that. And now I kind of see a different meaning behind that, but it's still like the same thing, right? Are we going to talk about reality here and try to convince people of what's really, really going on? Or are we going to try to fix the dumb game world and make it a better place? So, wasting time, I got 40 years left. I'm pretty sure they're not going to be able to kill me, right? Like, how long can I sit here in pain and stuff and not die? Like, humans go pretty fast. And I'm just going to ignore the pain and stuff. I don't think humans sit around with hard pain, like they're being shot in the chest repeatedly for more than a few minutes. I researched this when it started. And it's like, yeah, it does. That's not in China. It's something else. But yeah, so another thing there too, it's like they give you stuff like that, and then it could mask other stuff that they're doing. Like they could be giving you stuff that's killing you, and it's designed to mask that. And this is exactly the people I'm talking about and stuff I'm talking about. Hell, the reason why I even got involved in this stuff, I didn't like it, but I ended up being crippled. Um, Around the time someone in my life showed a voodoo doll of me who worked with Donald Trump and Hollywood and dated me and all this stuff. And, well, I got injured really bad right at that time. And then so did she, too. Same exact, one of the injuries was the same exact injury. And she was like messed up permanently from that, but I got messed up in different ways during that time. Like, became crippled and stuff. And my heart started acting up around that time, too. So it kind of sounded like, why is someone in my life, who works with leaders of the world, showing me voodoo dolls to me and stuff like that. This is when I first started seeing the fake stuff. People talking to me about things they don't know and stuff. This was the first person I noticed that was doing that. They asked me a question that you just wouldn't ask someone. But it was like stuff I was like getting interested in at that point in time. Maybe because it was stuff being forced my direction. I think that was it. And one of those things that they kind of want you to do, right? They say they want people to do certain things out here. They have agendas, right? That was the first time I noticed that stuff. And it was about an agenda that people at the time were telling me, like, people are telling me to do this stuff, like, don't get involved in it and stuff. I don't know if you guys get told that. Does anyone even have parents anymore? But I used to have parents and family members. It's like, my uncle might be like, don't get involved in drugs. It's an agenda. And people didn't tell me about agendas as a kid, but when I got older, they was like, oh, no, don't do that. Don't get involved with that stuff right now. And, they had the cops performing anti-drug concerts and stuff like that at schools, musician bands, cops and stuff, and music videos of it, and stuff like that. So they had that, and then they're like protecting the places. They're the armed soldiers protecting the places selling the drugs nowadays. Probably were back then too, but I don't think so. I think it, like most of the world, slowly unfolded since I came here. I've seen everything unfold a little bit at a time. And, yeah. Back then, I guess coke was a big deal, but I really didn't know nothing about drugs back then, so I can't really comment too much on that, other than that. But I know that supposedly the stuff they're selling now, destroys your emotions. And I was thinking after, just dealing with the whole thing in general, like the whole thing has me questioning what's going on. Like finding the powder in my drink. What drug was that? What were they trying to do? How come I'm not dead yet? I mean, we're real close. Like, oh yeah. I could be holding my chest right now if I wanted to, but I'm just not going to sit around and do that all day. Yeah. So, the drugs they got now, they're pushing, they do like numb you. Like, they take away that ability. Like, okay, so it should be it's like mixed with something that should make you happy and stuff. But even if you like take a large dose of that, you don't feel like happy and stuff. It, it's doing something. What is it doing? They claim it's like countering addiction. I don't know anything about addiction. They claim it counters withdrawals too. Yeah. It might do that. Yeah, it might do that. But technically, from what I read, and Alex Jones was talking about, I mean, I read the actual scientific stuff, but it just burns out your receptors. Much the same way they say don't do marijuana and all that other stuff because it cocaine because it burns your receptors out and then you won't ever feel happy, which isn't my experience. It makes you feel better than you can naturally, and you pretty much recover from everything unless you become dependent on something. You know, like it works. Things work. Like anxiety meds work. Like when I can't go around people, when I don't leave my house for like a couple months, because I know there's scumbags outside waiting to poison me these days. In the past, I didn't know what was going on, but I just knew not to go around people, and it would be to the point I just wouldn't go outside. And sometimes I'd like drive to a store to get groceries, and I'd just park in the parking lot for a half hour and leave because I didn't know back then, but people, I didn't know the rest of the stuff that's going on in this world back then. Like, just that's how people made me feel my whole life. And so I take a pill to counter that, right? Well, the pill has all sorts of stuff going on. The drug has all sorts of stuff going on. And it kind of like, that type of medicine kind of like counters my ability to logically reason things through. Like when I'm out here and people are poisoning me. I got people who are poisoning me, who have poisoned me, and done all sorts of shit, asking dumb questions because they don't listen to anything I say, and I don't like talking. It's pretty much if you get me to talk to you, there's a good chance that's like being forced against my will. Again, why do I go to a grocery store, park in the parking lot, and then drive away 30 minutes later without going in? I know I felt what they're doing my whole life. I don't have to remember it and add it up. I didn't have to be shown and understand it fully what they were doing. But I knew they have 2 legs, they have mouths, and the worst thing is they have 2 arms. And they can do a lot of shit with those 2 arms and that mouth there. And I think it's really the arms. Like, you know, if humans had no arms, the world wouldn't be a better place. For me, probably. I mean, the game's just generating stuff here, right? And so what I'm assuming they're doing isn't odd. Like I can talk about this stuff, and like my pain is increasing, and I'm having no emotions because I'm on this stuff right now that stops you from having emotions. I took an extra strong dose of it today to see what happens and stuff. And here I am. Like I'm no longer feeling like hateful or angry that I'm constantly being poisoned and drugged and stalked in this world and terrorized. I'm no longer feeling hateful or angry towards that. But I also don't feel good, and it's mixed with stuff that's supposed to make you like, no human could ever feel that good without something. And yeah. So and now, why would my heart be hurting when I'm just talking about this and I have 0 emotions about this? It's almost like they're giving me drugs and they're using the radio waves and shit to destroy people's bodies, and they watch people and they terrorize them when they don't like them using radio frequencies and stuff like that. Which is odd because the people terrorizing and robbing you telling you that they have to tell you what they're doing in order to release their karma. Their video game character ass says is the reason why they explain the story for everyone. They say that they do that too. No, like the dude who, the world's largest media, the president thinks for the win, is dead on about a lot of stuff going on in the world. So powerful and popular that he can lead people to invade the capital of the empire of the world. And they do. The dumbest thing on earth you could ever possibly do. take 100 people to invade a capital. I mean, if it were other people, if that was like Arabs or Asians who came over here on a boat or something, rode over here on a rowboat, and just tried to walk in the capital like that, if they're from another country, they would have just been piles of blood and meat everywhere. There wouldn't be nothing to see. They might, hell, you never know. They might even, if I want to join their team, I'd be suggesting just nuke it. Nuke DC. Show them that we don't we don't care. We don't live in DC, dumbass. Hey, what are you going to do? Take the capital over? Isn't it odd? Like, mentally right now, I'm not having, like, emotions, but my body is doing weird shit. But, I'm not, like, emotional about this. I'm just, like, talking about the story and what's going on here. And things are happening inside my body that would normally happen if I were having emotions. But I'm not having emotions, and I'm not putting emotions into this stuff. I'm just being, like, my normal comedic self right now. I'm not really thinking, oh, these are evil people who drug people and terrorize people. I'm just talking. This is just a conversation. But something's happening inside my body right now. This wasn't even the plan here of this video to talk about this stuff. But the things begin to happen during the last 10 minutes here, so. What's that sound in my ear? Why do I hear, like, things in my ear right now? Like, yeah, that's all. It's almost like, sometimes you can feel your heartbeat, but this is more like, so, yeah, how long have they been doing this stuff? Is that how they puppeteer humans and stuff when they mass control like 1,000 people at a time? Or they like the human shell is like a robotic body that was created for some sort of playland, and then some devil group comes here and starts trying to manipulate and kill them off and stuff. Obviously they're doing, if that would be the case, whatever they're doing, the storyline here allows them to come up and poison me and stuff. Like, why was that they put in my champagne 4 years ago? Who knows? Why did the owners of the place, why did both those Abrahamic people, both those pale-skinned, brown-eyed, brown-hair people, gray skin, more like, why curly brown hair, white skin? I like that. That's a good definition. That targets a lot of them. Curly, brown-haired people with white skin. That's a good starter point there. There's not too many of those on the planet. They tell you it's the other people, but those people didn't own the buildings when they poisoned me, and then made up some excuse to kick me out the next day. I mean, literally, dude, they had their crew poison me. With what, I don't know, but there's powder in the champagne, very obvious, tons of it, left at the bottom undissolved. And the next day, they kicked me out. They said I did something, but I didn't do anything. They definitely make up stuff, but at the same time, what's with this drugging they do? And how does the puppeteering of the human race work and stuff? So, yeah. I can tell you that the drugs they're giving people to make them feel better right now, they're telling you, they're purposely putting stuff in there that counters that and destroys your ability to feel good. It destroys your emotional response. But, I see every time they make a move, there's like a million other things that happen. Every time something happens in the world, there's like a million other things that happen. Like, they dress up as Hamas and then go bomb themselves. So, Um, like they have a reason to blow up more natives and take more native land, then, that kind of upsets the world. And they know that's going to happen, so they're already in control of the protests against that. And those morons just go out there and worship the same people. They listen to the same people they claim they're against. Okay, so they know that there's something that's going to happen from things they do, but I'm not sure if they figured out that they're trying to kill people's emotions, that could be real negative for them. Because besides the fact right now that they're doing I'm just going to assume they're doing something to me right now because I shouldn't have emotions right now. I don't feel anything. I'm not tense or anything. I'm just telling you how it is. If you don't like it, you're the bitch with emotions. Bitches don't like being bitches. And other people don't like bitches being bitches. They gotta bitch about it. That's what bitches do, right? That's all they do. That's all they can do. It's like a mosquito. It flies. Why does the mosquito fly? Probably because God created it to terrorize people. No, they probably created it to terrorize. Blood samples, monitoring the human race, and taking data collection, and the ability to poison people and harass them, which I think is part of this emotional manipulation thing. I think they kill people through emotional manipulation. You see a lot of men out there acting all fucked up, and once I seen everything going on, I assume that they're out there. They've been out there terrorizing these people for a long time and stuff. And I assume that's why prisons have. We already have links to them putting people in prison. Like the people who know what they're doing, or are close to knowing talking about them. They target that group of people. They bomb that nation, and supposedly they bomb everyone. And just like Ukraine, they told you they were Nazis for 10 years, and then now they're like, oh, they're our good people. Let's just send them some bombs so Russia blows them up. And they try to when our people, Zelensky, use them to kill them, try to kill Russia. Yeah. It's pretty interesting there, right? How that all works. They do things like that. I wonder how, I'm more concerned with how the world actually works, but I guess here, what's going on is there's an alien demon race enslaving the planet. And you can tell they're not good people because they're out there killing people and drugging people. So any of their stories that talk about that, like when they brag they're an alien demon race and stuff in South Park and stuff, they do it and they tell you they're a good person. Well, you can clearly see if you've got that far to understand what they're telling you. They made a whole fucking episode about it and then banned it from the net, and from every other episode's free except for canceled, and called canceled for a reason because they canceled it. But you look at that story, and that doesn't seem to be totally true either, because they seem like pretty psycho and messed up. If they were really off-planet people making a story about the humans and documenting them, there'd be another nation, another galaxy somewhere that would just slaughter them for going around and drugging and poisoning and mutilating them and raping their children, right? So that wouldn't exist. We know that that's a lie simply because they can never stop lying, but how factual is it the world's fake and there's different alien beings on it? Obviously that's true because I don't teleport and shapeshift. Well, not too much, right? Every now and then, if I gotta wake up or go to the bathroom, and teleport to the bathroom, right? But, seriously. See, normally I would laugh when I said something like that, right? But right now my emotions should be nowhere. So why is my heart and my body acting all weird, like I'm being all violent and stuff? I've been assuming this for a while. they're manipulating people through that, aren't they? One of the good thing is when they start to kill off your ability to like feel good. Like I suppose that with certain people they might want to do that because if you feel good, then other people like you, and they don't want certain people to like you. But I don't really care at this point in time because if you're not ready for a war against the things these people are doing and the people doing it, then you're probably one of them. And well, good luck. I mean, they're gonna have to do what they're allowed to do, right? That's all. Is that all they can do? Is make me feel pain and stuff? I guess I guess I'm kind of crippled, right? And I guess they can do that. How do they do that? I wonder how they did that. I wonder how they broke my back. I know how they did other things. When they sent people to assault me, they broke my hand, and when they disabled me, when they drugged me right before COVID, like 4 days before COVID, and they drugged me pretty badly and assaulted, had one of their puppets come into the MMA gym and assault me. I know they're doing that, right? And I mean, hell, that was about the same time that they physically came up and separated me from some black girls I was dancing with and tried to make me touch them. I was fucking with them, but I mean, hell, if it wasn't a whole building full of them, I guess I should have just burned it down, right? But because it was a building full of them mostly. I guess there was some other people who weren't there, who weren't them, or they wouldn't have been so worried about it that day. They always keep those people around too. I wonder like where they really brought them from. I wonder if they really even brought them from somewhere else, or they just made them in a lab somewhere, or they have special people out there they do that with. Who really knows what's going on? Because we know they're lying, and we know there's a whole bunch of clones out here, and we know there are some devil people all over the place. And people is not the word because. You know, COVID doesn't happen in a world full of people. People wouldn't allow that to happen. Living beings wouldn't just let COVID happen. Let the Faucis and, you know, Trumpies and all those Weinsteins do that stuff, right? It's weird. It was a really weird year. And then the whole puppeteering, like, okay, so let's round up the people who I posted videos of being puppeteering. Let's ask them how they feel what they were doing at that point in time. Were they being paid to do that? Or do they now know that they're not in control of themselves and someone else operates their body? How would they feel? And mind. How would they feel being shown proof of that? You know, that's a rare piece of video right there, where you have solid proof that a whole place, that's like about the only, if I would have got the sun moving on film and the clouds forming shapes when I talked to it, and, you know, around the sun, specific shapes, specific answers, we know the answers too. That's the only thing I could have got on video, I think, more powerful than that. Shape-shifting didn't quite happen on video. I had to turn the videos off before they would play with me that night. That was definitely, I mean, clearly, they were playing with my devices, letting me know that they can do that. So I knew, like, okay, I'll turn off the cameras. Cause for a while, I had like 3 cameras at all times. Usually one on at all times. I had like 7 when I was traveling, but 3, usually 3 at all times. But then they took them from me, and they started selling me this bogus junk stuff. After a while, somehow, them and their little, their puppets they used to wreck nations, they started noticing I had cameras running when they were hidden and stuff. It's like, how do you do that? How do you detect my electronics and stuff are working? And how do they get on here when I'm recording viewed them in my life. Because that's all I'm allowed around, so we're just going to record them and show that to everyone. These people have been separating me from the human race my entire life. And they need to be denazified. So I record them, because that's a denazification, the denazification of Earth. We got a race here who looks like who has been caught separating me from other races and forcing me to be around them only. We must denazify that race. They must no longer be Nazis and stop forcing other people to have sex with them who don't want. And stop forcing other people to get drugged by them, talk by them, live in nations with them, worship them. God damn. I don't think there really is much worship. I think there's probably a lot of people who have been killed and slaughtered by them. And they do this thing, this whole hiding and drugging, using the radio waves to destroy and kill people, fuck with your heart, fuck with your head, control you, take you over. They do that, and then they come up to you, and they'll call it alien command base and tell them to stop doing that. And they'll say, well, you need to worship me, come worship me and give me money on Sunday. And they'll stop, and then they watch it, and then they keep playing the game like that. That's how it's working, isn't it? This is how this shit's working, ain't it? This is exactly the storyline here. They're using drugs mixed with torture and enslavement and mind control to kill everyone. Everyone. No matter how much you worship them. Because you all worship them. That's all you guys do. You just spent 3 months worshiping one day of their cult. 3 months. But yet, every second of those 3 months would have been constantly blethering and blabbing about them. You want me to open up my Facebook and show you? What do you think's written in my Facebook feed? Half of them is just pictures of them saying they're great people, they're the best people. They are. And Jeffrey Epstein's people are my Lord and Savior, aren't they? They're the greatest people. See, look, I'm not even being emotional. And this shit's happening. I think I'm saying stuff they don't like. Just like, obviously, why do they follow me and drug me when I run for president and stuff? Saying stuff they don't like. How did they magically appear that one day? It took them like 30 minutes. I woke up and I went to ambush. I seen an event, didn't know what was happening, and I went to ambush it. And they showed up. Caitlin Bennett showed up from out of town. Caitlin Bennett, world's largest media info wars, showed up in like 30 minutes. And I don't know where she lives, but she lives more than 30 minutes away because she doesn't live in Columbus. She probably lives in like a different state. And she shows up with her fiance, who is one of them, but obviously she is no. She's got the curly hair. Okay. So that's all. That's the only evidence I have is she marries one of them and she's got the curly hair. And so the curly hair to me is enough evidence when you got the pale skin and stuff. So that's not very European. But yeah, that's messed up. That they drug people with drugs like that. And I see a silver lining to it, but I mean the stuff is obviously weakening your body and allows them. I'm assuming the drugs all allow them to enter you. That's why they call it spirits. And they call themselves, they're the gods you worship. Okay, add it up. And then they come up to you and they force you to worship their black magic religions. They're like, accept the Holy Ghost. Accept the Holy Ghost. Come on, say it with me. Accept it. May the Holy Ghost enter me and guide me. And they call their alcohol spirits. And they're the ones you worship and give your money to. And they're the ones who control all the technology and all the radio towers. They're the ones who control Santa Claus. They're the ones who control the rockets that them and Santa Claus fly to Mars with. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Is there anyone they're not? In my life? Hell, is there anyone else on the planet? I don't know. No, I went to Mexico and that's hard to tell because you get a whole bunch of brown people down there. I didn't even know. I mean, I guessed, I assumed, but I didn't know until the people I was living with told me, like, hey, you know, I'm one of them. It's like, oh yeah, well, thanks for telling me. I'm glad I know now. Because I felt I was drugging myself enough to feel comfortable. Now you told me that. And I'm still too drugged to care, so I guess thanks for telling me, now I know. But yeah, like, is that what's going on? Are they using radio frequency to mind control puppets here? And what's the plot line? How come the others, like, do the dancing so easy? I guess I mean, they're not even on, oh, well, no, wait a minute. Most people are on drugs, aren't they? I know people with more pill bottles than I have right now. I don't have many. I just got some vitamins and some other shit. But I used to have, like, everything in the world. Like bookshelves full of it, tall ones, things like that, drawers, and beds stuffed with them and stuff. But, yeah, I mean, I guess everyone else has all those drugs too, don't they? That's odd. And then they tell you that's happening. And then there obviously is something happening. And then people come into your life putting drugs in your drink. And then you start feeling like you're dying. And then, but then you don't die too. That's another weird thing that has made me think about the radio frequency stuff for a while. Like, they just torture people, don't they? That's why most people look all fucked up. That's why most men look like they're fucking ran over trash by the time they're 20. I was a good puppet when I was a kid. I went around fucking everything up, making good TV shows and stuff. Whoever seen that? Fucking, that was the best TV show in the world. You ain't never heard stories like that. You heard stories of gangsters shooting each other and all that. You heard stories of who we was shooting at. And, we really weren't shooting at people. That would be no fun. There'd be no skill in that. Pow, they're dead. Okay, see you later. Gets boring fast. But, yeah, dude, like, so, am I right about all this stuff happening here? Because I'm definitely right about the first half of it, right? And it got kind of carried away there because things started happening to me. But, I shouldn't be having emotions right now. My body shouldn't be, like, acting up and stuff, but, because I don't feel anything. And I'm thinking that's kind of the point of what they've been up to here. But I also have hope that if they're up to that, another thing it does is it erases your ability to care. And granted, you know, they got the mind control weapons and the ability to hit you with a heart attack ray from 1,000,000 miles away. Or likely, I mean, they've bragged in some ads they're showing me they're using these devices to do that stuff too. All the more reason to sleep it with it on my chest and stuff, right? But, yeah, if they're doing all that, like, hell. That's still no excuse for the humans, how they act, right? I mean, they're worshiping them. Like, come on, you can cover your head with some tinfoil so you can outthink Santa Claus and Elon Musk and Mars. It's not that hard to stop mutilating and drugging people for them so they can do that stuff, right?